Hi, everyone. First thing I want you to do is label your papers in your folder. The table of contents is on the back side of your vocabulary list that you should have done on Monday. Make sure your name's on it, your period's on it, and then the very first assignment we are going to put in this packet is your notes. So you label them 1.1 and 1.2 notes. We're taking them today. And then on your notes on the bottom, I want you to put a big number 1 so that when we put your chapter 1 packet together at the end of the chapter, you know that is the first page that will go in your packet. So it's like page 1, okay? I'm recording this video so that if you missed class or I went too fast and you didn't get all of the blanks, this is the time, this is your tool that you use to fill in all the blanks that you missed. So our key concept for section 1.1 is biology is the study of all forms of life. The Earth is home to an incredible diversity of life, which is also called biodiversity, which is one of your vocabulary words that we did in the Kahoot. The biosphere includes all living things and all of the places that they are found. Make sure you are also writing down the titles to each slide. The title to this slide is The Earth. It's in blue at the top. Ideally, you should be doing it in Cornell Notes, where you put the Earth on the left side or in the margins, and then everything that's in black, the body of the slide, is on the right side of your paper. Everything is connected. So every part of the biosphere is connected with every other part of the Earth. The biosphere includes the many environments that living things come from, but it is connected to the geosphere, which is the actual dirt and lava and rocks of the Earth. The hydrosphere is the water. Hydro means water. And then the atmosphere is the air. All of these spheres are connected and dependent on each other. The biosphere includes 2 main environments. We split those 2 main environments into land and sea. And then those 2 main environments are split into further categories. Land biomes are split into 6 to 10 biomes, depending on what scientist you talk to. Different scientists categorize things in different ways. So if they chunk them in bigger chunks, there's only 6 categories. If they chunk them in smaller chunks, there are up to 10 of them. When we talk about biomes, we'll get to that. And then in the sea, there are 2 biomes. Scientists agree on that. There's a freshwater biome, which is all of the lakes and the rivers and the ponds on the Earth. And then there are saltwater biomes, which is most of the oceans. There's a few salty lakes as well, but for the most part, saltwater biomes include the ocean. Biodiversity is the variety of life. It generally increases from the poles to the equator. So it's really, really cold at the North and South Pole. And most of the water found there is frozen. So not a lot of organisms live there, although there are some organisms that thrive there. And then as you get closer and closer, I should do this way, like in the picture, as you get closer and closer to the equator, the warmer temperatures warm up the water. You have a lot more liquid water, and biodiversity is greater in areas with consistently warm temperatures. Water is life. So the more liquid water there is, and the warmer it is, the more life forms there will be. A species is one particular type of living thing. Members of a species can interbreed and have fertile offspring, fertile being the key word there. Lions and tigers are 2 different species because even though they can interbreed, they can have babies. They're called ligers. Those ligers are sterile. They can't have babies of their own. You always have to mate a lion to a tiger to make a liger. So that makes them 2 completely separate species because their babies can't have babies. And there are about 2 million different living species that have been identified. And those are living species that we have today. Those don't include things that have already gone extinct, like dinosaurs. We are also going over section 1.2. Our key concept for the next section is unifying themes connect concepts from many fields of biology. And each of these unifying themes will actually get their own chapter a little bit later in the year. An organism is any individual living thing. This picture, you do not have to write down. There's a lot of pictures. I pretty much put a picture on every single slide. You don't have to write them down unless it specifically says, draw this picture. I don't say draw this picture, so you do not have to draw it. This is just to illustrate how scientists categorize the variety of organisms. How many cells is it made of? What size is it? What is the shape of the cell? And there's a lot of other categories. This is just an illustration. You do not have to draw it. All organisms share certain characteristics. They're all made of one or more cells. They all need energy for metabolism. Metabolism is the process that your body goes through when it breaks down and processes your food to give you energy. All organisms respond to their environment somehow, and they all reproduce and have DNA that they pass on to offspring. DNA is that hereditary material. It's a double helix that everybody's seen a picture at some point in their life. That is what you get from your parents. That is what you will eventually pass on to your children if you have them. All levels of life have systems of related parts. A system is an organized group of interacting parts. A cell is a system of chemicals and processes. We will have a whole chapter dedicated just to the cell and what's in the cell and how they interact and what processes they go through. A body system includes organs that interact. Your mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, pancreas, all of those different organs are clumped together into the digestive system that perform a function to break down your food and give you energy. An ecosystem includes living and non-living things that interact. So when we talk about ecosystems, we're talking about out in nature, not where humans do not interfere, but all the plants, the animals, the bacteria, the algae, how it interacts with all the non-living things in the environment, the sunlight, the water, the oxygen in the air. And biologists study many different systems. Structure and function are always related. Structure always determines function. Within our bodies, we have thousands of different proteins. Each of those proteins have a different structure and they perform a different function. Our heart muscle cells have a different structure and function than our stomach muscle cells. Yes, you have muscle cells in both your heart and your stomach. And different species have different anatomical structures with different functions. Some organisms have wings, some organisms have fins, and those structures determine their functions. Homeostasis is another unifying theme of biology. This is just the maintenance of constant internal conditions. Your body inside is a series of chemical processes, and those chemical processes always have to be balanced. Your temperature is one of them. We stay at a steady 98.6. Some people might be a little hotter or a little colder, but that is the average for a human. If our bodies get too hot, then our bodies sweat to bring us back and cool us down. If our bodies get too cold, our bodies shiver. And the action of our muscles shivering actually generates heat to bring our body temperature up. So we always want to stay at some set point. Water balance is another one. If we drink too much water, our body has to get rid of it. So we pee. If we don't have enough water, our brain has a signal that says, hey, I'm thirsty. Drink more water. But there's thousands of processes inside of our body that have to stay balanced. And all organisms have homeostatic mechanisms, have to maintain homeostasis to survive in diverse environments. And then our last unifying theme, evolution, is a change in things over time. It's just a general term. We can be talking about the genetic makeup of a population that will change over time for a certain species. We can be talking about evolution that can occur through natural selection of adaptations, where nature selects those traits that are the most beneficial, that are going to help those animals or plants or organisms survive and reproduce the best. And then adaptations are the beneficial inherited traits that are passed to future generations. So finish your notes, keep them in your folder. I'm going to collect your folders every day. I will check them off, and then the next day you will get your folder with your new work. Make sure you label all your pages. Label the table of contents with your name, your period, and your first assignment right there. And then label your notes, put a big number 1 in the corner. So when we put our packets together, that is page 1. That's the first thing you will put in there.